The war had lasted so long that most children in the valley did not remember a time before it. They were born into the sound of distant explosions, into the sight of broken houses and empty streets, into the taste of fear that never really left the air. Among these children was a boy named Sami, who lived with his mother in a small house that used to be part of a busy village. Now the village was quiet and half destroyed. Roofs had holes, windows were broken, and the old school building was only a skeleton of stone and dust. The war was between the people of the valley and the people of the mountains. Two sides who once traded food and stories, but now only traded bullets and hate. Sami did not understand why the war had started. When he asked his mother, she only shook her head and said, "It began before I was born." Old anger, old pain. When he asked the old man who sold them bread, the man said, "They took something from us." But when Sami asked what that something was, the man did not answer. One cold morning, Sami sat on the remains of a wall, watching smoke rise from somewhere far away. He could hear the low thunder of artillery on the horizon. He hugged his thin jacket around his body and kicked a stone with his shoe. It was hard to feel like a child when every sound reminded him that people were fighting, killing, and dying somewhere just out of sight. His mother told him to stay close, to never go near the old road that led through the valley toward the mountains, because that was where soldiers often passed. The road was a line of danger that cut through his world. But Sami was curious and lonely, and sometimes curiosity is stronger than fear. That same day, when his mother went to get water, Sami walked a little farther than usual. He followed the cracked path beyond the last standing houses, where wild grass pushed up between broken stones. The air smelled of dust and smoke, but also of something clean, like the wind trying to wash the world. He reached a hill where he could see the old road below, winding like a faded scar between the valley and the mountains. He sat down, planning only to look for a few minutes, just to see if the stories about soldiers were true. At first, the road was empty. Then he saw movement, a dark shape stumbling along the path. His heart pounded. It was a soldier, but not like in the posters his people used, where the enemy was shown as a monster with red eyes and sharp teeth. This was just a person in a dirty uniform, moving slowly, one hand pressed against their side. As the figure came closer, Sami saw that it was not a man at all, but a child, maybe a few years older than him, with short hair, pale skin, and eyes that looked far too tired. Their uniform was the color of the mountain army, the enemy his people spoke about with anger and fear. The child was wounded. Blood stained the fabric at their waist. They looked up, saw Sami on the hill, and froze. For a moment, they simply stared at each other, two children from two sides of a war they did not start. Sami's first feeling was fear. His second feeling was confusion. This enemy child did not look dangerous. They looked fragile, as if a strong wind could blow them away. The other child tried to raise their hand as if to show they had no weapon, but the movement made them gasp in pain, and they fell to their knees. Sami could have run. He could have shouted for the adults, who would come with angry words and maybe guns, but something inside him did not want to do that. He thought of how his mother looked when she was tired. He thought of how he felt when he was hungry and cold. And he thought, this is someone's child too. Slowly, carefully, Sami climbed down the hill toward the road. The child watched him, eyes wide with both hope and fear. When Sami reached them, he saw that the wound was not small. "You're bleeding," Sami said in a quiet, shaky voice. "I know," the other child whispered. Their accent was different, but their fear sounded the same. "What is your name?" Sami asked. "Lena," the child said, "from the mountains." They said it like an apology. Sami looked back toward his village. No one was there yet. No one had seen them. He looked at Lena again. He could leave her to die. No one would blame him. Some might even praise him. But he thought of something his mother had said once when she thought he was asleep. The worst part of war is when people forget how to be human. Sami did not want to forget. "Can you walk?" he asked. Lena shook her head slightly. Sami bit his lip, thinking. Then he made a choice that would change everything, though he did not know it yet. "Stay here," he said. "I'll come back." Lena grabbed his sleeve weakly. "If your people see me, they'll kill me," she whispered. "If my people find you here," Sami replied, "they might kill both of us." They both tried to smile, but it came out sad and crooked. Sami pulled gently free and ran back up the hill, his heart beating so hard he could hardly breathe. He did not know exactly what he would do. He only knew this. War was something adults had made, but he still had a choice about what kind of child he wanted to be. Sami ran back to the village, his mind full of thoughts that crashed into each other like stones in a river. He could not tell his mother the truth. Not yet. If she knew there was an enemy soldier, even a child, on the old road, she would call the village guards. They would come with hard faces and harder guns, and Lena would not live to see another day. But he also knew he could not help Lena alone. He was just a boy with thin arms and no medicine. When he reached home, his mother was inside boiling water and cutting dry bread into smaller pieces so it would last longer. She looked up and frowned. "You're out of breath?" she said. "Have you been running around again? You know it's not safe." Sami thought fast. "I saw something by the old well," he said. "Looked like someone dropped cloth or maybe a bag. Can I take some bandages in case someone is hurt?" His mother's expression changed. worry deepening the lines on her face. Someone hurt? Maybe, Sami lied, his stomach twisting. I'm not sure, I only saw from far away. His mother hesitated, then opened the small wooden box where she kept precious things. A few coins, a ring from his grandmother, and a roll of clean cloth. She gave him a small piece. Only this, she said. We don't have much left, and come straight back if it is dangerous. Do you understand? Sami nodded quickly, guilt burning in his chest. I understand. He grabbed an old water flask too, and some breadcrumbs wrapped in cloth. Then he ran before he could lose his courage. When he reached the hill again, Lena was still on the road, but now lying down, one arm across her face as if the sky was too heavy. Sami climbed down carefully. I came back, he said, trying to sound braver than he felt. Lena moved her arm and looked at him, eyes glassy with pain. I thought you wouldn't, she whispered. My people don't. They don't usually help us. She winced, as if the words hurt to say. Sami knelt by her side. Up close, he could see she was maybe 12 or 13, older than him, but not by much. Her hands were calloused like someone who worked hard. Her uniform was torn at the waist where shrapnel had cut through. There was dried blood and fresh blood, and the wound looked angry and red. Sami did not know much about healing, but he knew she needed water. Drink, he said, lifting her head gently and holding the flask to her lips. She drank greedily, then coughed. Slow, he whispered. There's not much. When she rested back, he took the bandage his mother had given him and wrapped it around her waist, his hands shaking. The cloth turned pink, then red. This won't be enough, Lena said quietly. You should go. If your people find you with me, they'll say you betrayed them. Maybe, Sami said, but if I leave you here, I'll say that to myself. They sat in silence for a moment, the war's distant thunder rumbling like an old monster that never slept. How did you get here? Sami finally asked. Lena looked at the sky as if the answer might be written there. My unit was moving along the ridge, she said slowly. We were told the valley people were planning an attack. We were sent to watch the road, but there was shelling, and I got separated. Something exploded close to me. When I woke up, I was alone. My radio was broken. My sight is... She stopped speaking, breathing carefully through the pain. Your people call us monsters, don't they? Sami did not answer. He thought about the posters again, the stories of mountain soldiers burning farms and stealing children. He thought about the way adults said them like a curse. Do your people call us monsters too? He asked. Lena nodded slowly. They say valley people started the war, that you attacked first, that you want to take our water, our land. They say you have no honor. The strange thing was, Sami had heard almost the same words, just with mountain people in place of valley people. It made his head hurt. Do you believe that? He asked. Lena looked at him for a long time. I believed it was simple, she said. Us and them, right and wrong. Then the shell hit. The soldiers ran. The only person who came back was a boy who should hate me. Sami felt his face grow hot. I don't know what to believe, he admitted. I just know you're hurt, and I can't leave you. Time passed. The sun shifted. Sami knew he could not stay all day without someone noticing. There's an old storage shed near here, he said. Nobody uses it. I can't bring you to the village, but maybe I can bring help to you. Moving Lena was hard. She bit her lip to keep from crying out as he helped her stand. They walked in slow, painful steps, her arm over his shoulders, his small frame trembling but determined. Twice she almost fell, and twice he almost dropped her. But they kept going until they reached the broken shed under some trees, hidden from the road. Inside, there was dust, old tools, and a dirty blanket. Sami helped Lena lie down on it. I'll come back, he said again. Tonight, when it's darker, I'll try to bring more bandages. Maybe medicine. Why? Lena asked, her voice so soft he almost didn't hear. Because Sami searched for the right words. Because if I help you, maybe the war is smaller today than it was yesterday. Lena almost smiled. Just by a little, she whispered. Just by a little, Sami agreed. As he left the shed, he knew that he was now part of a secret that did not belong to one side of the war, but to something bigger, something quieter, and more powerful. The choice to be kind when the world said to hate. He did not know that this secret would grow and spread, and one day, reach the ears of people who could end the war itself. For the next week Sami lived two lives. In one life, he was the same boy everyone knew in the village. Quiet, thin, helpful to his mother. Careful to stay away from the edges of the ruins when the older boys threw stones and pretended to be soldiers. In the other life, he was something else, a bridge between enemies. A secret friend to a wounded child from the other side of the war. Every evening, when the sky turned orange and then purple, when people became busy with fires and food and tried to forget for a moment that war existed, Sami slipped away. He always told his mother he was going to look for firewood or to check the old well. She frowned, but let him go, because in a world broken by war, every small help mattered. He always carried something with him, a piece of bread, a handful of dried fruit, a strip of cloth, sometimes a tablet that the old healer had dropped in the dust and not noticed. He went down the hill quietly, moving like a shadow. Each time his heart beat faster, afraid that someone had followed him, that soldiers would be waiting, that Lena would be gone. But every time he reached the old shed, she was there, lying on the blanket. pale but a little stronger each day. At first, she could barely sit up. Then she started to eat more and talk more. She told him about the mountains, how the air there was thin and sharp, how the snow shone like silver under the sun, how goats climbed impossible cliffs. She told him how her father had been a miner, how they had lost their home when the valley water lines were cut years ago, how she had joined the army because there was no food and no other way to earn respect. In return, Sami told her about the valley rivers, how they glowed golden at sunset, how his mother used to sing while washing clothes before the water became dangerous, carrying chemicals and ash from bombed factories. He told her about the old school where his father had taught history before it was destroyed, and how his father never came back from a short mission when Sami was 7. They learned that they both had lost people. They learned that their maps had different borders, but the same roads. They learned that the stories they had been told about each other were full of holes. One night, when the wind was strong and the sound of gunfire echoed from far away, Lena said, "Do you think they'll ever stop?" Who? Sami asked, though he knew. "The ones who decide who is our enemy," she said. "The ones who send us to fight." Sami hugged his knees to his chest. "I don't know," he said. "They've been fighting since before we were born." "Then maybe," Lena said slowly, "someone who was born after it started needs to be the one to end it." Her words stayed with Sami long after he went home. That same night, something changed. As he crept into the house, he found his mother sitting at the table, waiting. Her eyes were tired, but sharper than usual. "You've been going out every night," she said. "Your shoes are muddy. You come back smelling of grass and dust. Not the well." Sami's heart jumped. "I was just don't lie," she said softly. "I can hear it in your voice." He froze, then said in a very small voice, "Will you be angry?" She sighed. "I'm already angry. At this war? At what it has done to us. I don't know if I will be angry at you. That depends on what you tell me." Sami looked at his hands. He thought of Lena's pale face, of the way she winced when she moved, of the stories they had shared. He thought of how his mother had said she did not want him to forget how to be human. Slowly, he told her everything. He told her about seeing Lena on the road, about giving her water and bandages, about hiding her in the shed, about the stories they shared. His mother listened without interrupting, her face unreadable. When he finished, his voice shaking, he whispered, "She's like me, Mama, just on the other side." The silence that followed felt heavier than any bomb. Then his mother closed her eyes and exhaled deeply. "You are your father's son," she said. "He always believed that people were more than the flags they carried." She opened her eyes again. "You know what could happen if the guards find out? They would not only hurt that girl, they might call you a traitor." "I know," Sami said, "but I couldn't leave her. Would you have—" His mother's eyes filled with tears, but they did not fall. She stood up slowly. "Show me," she said. Sami stared at her, shocked. "What?" "Show me the girl," she repeated. "If you are risking your life for her, I need to see with my own eyes if she is worth it." The next evening, they went together. Sami was more afraid than ever, because now he was not only responsible for himself and Lena, but for his mother too. As they walked down the hill, he kept looking back, checking if anyone was following. The village seemed busy with its own worries, the broken water pipe, a rumor about food deliveries, the usual whispers about the next attack. When they reached the shed, Lena looked up in surprise. Her hand moved instinctively toward the small knife Sami had once brought her, just in case. But when she saw the woman behind him, she stopped. "This is my mother," Sami said quietly. "Mama, this is Lena." His mother studied Lena carefully, taking in her thin face, her shaking hands, the blood-stained bandages. Then, without a word, she opened the bag she carried. Inside were proper bandages, herbs, and a small bottle of clear liquid that smelled sharp and clean. "Lie back," she said in a firm but gentle voice. "I was a nurse once, before the war took that from me. Let's see what I can give back." Lena's eyes filled with tears. She nodded and lay down. As Sami's mother cleaned and dressed the wound, Sami watched something new form between them, not trust yet, but something like it, something fragile and shining. A line thrown across a deep, dark river. "Why are you helping me?" Lena whispered at one point. "Because you are a child," Sami's mother said simply, "and I am tired of burying children from both sides." That night, as they left the shed, Sami's mother said, "This cannot stay our secret forever. Secrets like this grow. They either turn into poison or into something powerful. We must choose which." Sami did not understand at first, but he would, soon enough. When their small act of kindness began to move like a whisper through the valley, and, later, through the mountains too. Word in a war zone is like wind. You cannot see it, but you can feel it move, and it can carry seeds or sparks. Even though Sami and his mother tried to be careful, the secret of Lena did not stay only theirs. One evening, as Sami brought her a piece of fresh bread and Lena told him about a song her grandmother used to sing, they heard a noise outside the shed. Their hearts stopped. Sami's mother, who had come earlier to bring more medicine, reached for the small knife. But when the door opened, it was not a soldier from the valley or the mountains. It was an old man from the village, the same man who sold them bread. He stood in the doorway, his eyes wide as he saw Lena on the blanket. For a moment, no one moved. Then he said slowly, "So the rumors are true." Sami's mother tensed. "What rumors?" she asked. The old man stepped inside and closed the door, as if to keep the world out. Children talk, he said. They say Sami disappears every night. They say there are footprints near the shed. They say maybe he has a secret friend. And now I see they were right. Except the friend wears the wrong color uniform. His eyes shifted between them. Sami swallowed. Are you going to tell the guards? The old man sighed, his shoulders sinking. I have seen too many bodies, boy. Too many funerals. I am tired. He looked at Lena. How old are you? 13, Lena whispered. I joined the army last year. The old man shook his head slowly. Children carrying guns. Children hiding in sheds. He sat down on an old crate, his voice softer now. When I was young, the valley and the mountains traded cheese and wool. We argued over prices, not borders. Then one year, there was no rain. The river ran low. People grew afraid there would not be enough. Afraid people do foolish things when they are afraid. He looked at Sami. Your father wanted to build a shared dam, a project both sides owned. He believed it would stop the war. For that, some called him a traitor. Then he disappeared. Sami's chest hurt. You knew my father? The old man nodded. Everyone did. He spoke for peace when peace was no longer fashionable. He smiled sadly. I did not have his courage. I only sold bread and kept my head low. He turned to Lena. Does your side know there is a valley family helping one of your children? Lena shook her head. If they did, they would punish us both, she said. They say anyone who talks to valley people is weak. The old man's eyes narrowed. Weak. They use that word a lot. Weak to show mercy. Weak to ask questions. Weak to doubt. But the strong ones, are they happy? Are they alive? No one answered. He sighed again. I will not tell the guards, he said at last, but this will not stay hidden. Others will see things. Others will hear it might cause anger, or it might cause something else. What do you mean? Sami asked. Stories travel, the old man replied. A story of a valley boy and his mother saving a mountain girl. That is the kind of story that sticks in people's minds. Some will hate it, some will be afraid of it, and some will secretly hope it is true. In the days that followed, small changes began to happen. A woman from the next street quietly slipped extra herbs into Sami's mother's pocket by mistake. A boy from Sami's class warned him that the guards were asking questions about who went near the old road. The tired guard at the water point looked at Sami for a long time, and then said nothing, as if he knew and chose to look away. On the mountainside, something moved too. One night, as Lena lay half asleep, she heard soft footsteps outside the shed and tense voices. She reached for her knife, but before she could stand, 3 shadows entered the shapes of young soldiers in mountain uniforms. Lena, one of them whispered, Is it really you? It was Mira and John, 2 soldiers from her unit, and behind them a boy her age in a torn coat with no uniform. They stared at the scene, Lena lying under a valley blanket, her wound carefully wrapped, a small lantern casting warm light, and Sami's mother organizing bottles of medicine. We heard you were dead, Mira said, eyes bright with shock. Then we heard another story, a crazy story, that valley people saved you. She looked at Sami's mother. Is this true? Sami's mother met her gaze. It is, she said calmly. She was a child bleeding on a road. I am a mother. That's all. The mountain boy without a uniform stepped forward. My brother died last month, he said quietly. A shell hit our house. No one came. Not our soldiers. Not yours. Just neighbors. I don't care what side they were from. They carried my brother's body out of the rubble. He stared around the shed. I think I am on the side of whoever remembers we are people. Silence followed his words, thick and meaningful. Then John said, Lena, your commander thinks you were captured or killed. If we tell him valley people are hiding you, he will order an attack on this place. But, he hesitated, but if we say nothing, we will be breaking orders. Mira snorted. Orders, she said. We follow orders and children still die. Maybe it's time we choose which orders matter. The 3 mountain youths did something simple but dangerous. They sat down. In a broken shed, in the middle of a war zone, valley and mountain, soldiers and civilians, children and adults, shared bread and tea. They shared stories of fear and hunger, of brothers lost and rivers poisoned, of dreams small and big. None of this stopped the shells that fell far away that night. None of this made the generals call off their attacks. But something was changed, in maps or in battle lines, but in the hearts of a few people who would not keep their mouths closed. The old man was right. Stories travel. A child saved by the enemy. Soldiers refusing to report kindness as a crime. A mother choosing to heal instead of hate. These stories floated from mouth to mouth, camp to camp, village to village. Some laughed at them. Some cursed them. But some listened and wondered, if there is one child on the other side worth saving, how many others are there? And if there are many, what are we really fighting for? Winter came, and with it, harsher battles. Snow fell on the mountains and cold rain on the valley. Tanks left tracks in the mud that later froze like scars. The war should have grown stronger then, as it usually did when people fought over shrinking food and warmth. But something else was spreading too. The story of Sami and Lena, told and retold in different ways. In some versions, Sami was a brave hero who carried Lena for miles. In others, Lena was the one who saved Sami from a shell. The details changed, but the heart of the story stayed the same. Children from opposite sides had chosen to see each other as human, and adults had decided not to punish them for it. One day, a strange message arrived in the valley, carried not by a soldier, but by a group of mountain villagers waving a white cloth. The guards pointed guns at them, but they did not run. They shouted that they had come to speak, not to fight, and that they carried no weapons. With great suspicion, the valley leaders let them into a meeting hall. Among them was the mountain boy from the shed, now wearing a simple coat with no symbol. He told the valley elders, "Our side has heard your story. We know you saved one of ours. Some say it's a trick, some want to punish anyone who believes it, but some of us are tired. We want to talk to the ones who did this, to understand why." Sammy's mother was called in. She stood very straight, her hands shaking slightly, and told the story again in front of everyone. She did not make herself a hero. She only said, "There was a child bleeding, and I am a nurse. I did the only thing that made sense to my heart." Then they called Sammy. He stood there, smaller than the adults, heart pounding, eyes darting between valley and mountain faces. For a moment, he wanted to run. Then he remembered Lena's words. Someone who was born after the war started needs to be the one to end it. He took a deep breath and said, "I found Lena on the road. I was scared. We were told to hate people in her uniform. But when I saw her, she just looked like my friend from school who got hurt once. I didn't think about flags. I thought, if I was there, I would want someone to help me." His words were simple, but they landed in the room like heavy stones dropping into deep water. On the mountainside, something similar was happening. Myra, John, and the other young soldiers told their commanders about what they had seen out immediately. Not loudly, but slowly. They told them about a valley boy and his mother who risked their lives to save Lena. Some commanders shouted and called them liars. Others listened in tight, angry silence. But the story was like a crack in a heavy wall. Once it appeared, it could not be unseen. A few weeks later, something happened that had never happened before. Both sides, the valley and the mountains, agreed to a meeting at the border not to negotiate victory, but to talk about a pause, a ceasefire, a chance to breathe. Normally, such meetings were full of old men and old women who had been arguing for years. This time, the request from the younger officers was different. "Let us bring the children," they said. "Let Sammy and Lena speak." Many elders were against it. "What do children know of war?" they asked. "Nothing," one young captain answered. "And that is exactly why we need them there. They remember what we have forgotten." At last, they agreed. The meeting took place on a flat field between the valley and the mountains, where grass still grew despite the shell holes and tire marks. Tents were set up. Flags from both sides fluttered weakly in the cold wind. Soldiers watched from a distance, hands on weapons, just in case. Sammy walked beside his mother, his legs feeling like they were made of glass. On the other side, Lena walked with Myra and John, still a little pale but strong enough to stand straight. When the valley and mountain leaders faced each other, the air was thick with old anger. But between them, two children met first. Sammy and Lena looked at each other and smiled, small but real. They shook hands in front of everyone. The leaders watched, some with tight jaws, some with eyes that shone just a little too bright. A valley general spoke. "We have lost many to this war," he said. "We have reasons to hate." A mountain commander nodded. "So do we," she replied. "Our rivers dried, our homes burned. We remember." "Then why stop?" someone asked from the crowd. Before any leader could answer, Lena stepped forward. Her voice trembled but did not fail. "Because," she said, "none of those reasons healed me when I was lying on that road. Hate did not bring me water. Hate did not bring me bandages. A valley child did." Sammy followed her. "You tell us that we must fight for honor," he said. "But I did not feel honorable leaving someone to die. I felt honorable helping her. If this war is about honor, then let us choose the kind that saves people, not the kind that kills them." The field was silent. Even the wind seemed to pause. Then, slowly, people began to clap. Not everyone, not all at once. First, a mountain villager, then a valley mother, then a young soldier on one side, then another on the other side. The clapping grew, not loud like a celebration, but steady like a heartbeat. In that sound was something stronger than any gun. Agreement that the children were right. The ceasefire did not end the war in a single day. Wars are heavy things, slow to fall, but that meeting was the first stone removed from its foundation. Over the next months, the guns grew quieter. Patrols became less frequent. Shared wells were repaired. Markets tentatively opened again at the border. People still argued, still remembered their dead. But they also remembered a boy and a girl who had proved that the enemy was human. Years later, when the last official paper was signed and the war was finally declared over, history books would talk about treaties and speeches and long negotiations. But in the valley and the mountains, people told a different story. The same one they had told in whispers during the worst days. The story of the child who ended a war not with a weapon, but with a choice to care when the world told him not to. And whenever someone asked Sammy how he did it, he always gave the same simple answer. In the same basic words anyone could understand. "I only helped one person. The rest was other people deciding that maybe they could do the same."